Fabian, thank you so much for making time. I know you're very, very busy because your job scope looks at things that are very high technology for the world, not just for the country.
Okay.
And then you have to make relevance of it to our nation.
Right.
Especially like Sarawak, your own state, where you come from. So, and I'm very happy as somebody from Malaya to see that WCIT and IDEX are combined, done at the same time, right here where we are. And you have been a speaker on stage and you participated in discussion. So in all that, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself, My Digital, and the relevance of having something like WCIT and IDEX 2023 here in Sarawak.
Okay. First of all, who I am. Fabian Bigar, I can say that I'm with the government service for quite some time already. I now am the CEO of My Digital Corporation actually. It's an agency under the Ministry of Economy. It was set up in 2021, so I'm the first CEO that set it up. The role of My Digital actually is to look, number one, to be the, I would say, custodian of the digital economy blueprint and the national 4R policy. Having said that, we are not a very, how to say, popular in the sense that people see us all the time, because we are not a front-facing agency. We don't deal with the public directly. We don't give out, I like to say this, we don't give out grants, so there's not a lot of money with us, and we don't give out licenses and so forth. But what we do, we work in the background. We are the Secretariat for the National Digital Economy and 4R Council, chaired by the Prime Minister. We are also playing the role of the PMO, meaning Program Management Office, tracking the progress of all the initiatives under these two documents. And of course, thought leadership also, is part of something that we have to do. And also, the last bit is strategic interventions. Sometimes, in the course of implementation, you find some issues that need to be solved outside the agency. So we come in and try to figure out how to move forward. Okay, that being said, the relevance of this. Well, okay, if you look at how Sarawak has progressed, and in fact, Sarawak came out with the digital economy blueprint way earlier than the national one. In fact, they are started in 2018, 2023. Now you see 2030, and the national one starts in 2021 to 2030. So I think they are at the forefront. I think they are one of the states that actually take technology very seriously, whether it's digital or whether it's even in the energy transition bit. You can see they're dealing with hydrogen. Carbon capture and all that. They're already in the forefront. So I guess having a event, an international event such as WCIT in Sarawak, I think raised their profile. And you can see the Premier came out with what his grand plans are for Sarawak. So there's clarity, and I would say and the launching of the Sarawak Digital Economy Blueprint 2020, you bet I'll actually go back and study that blueprint and see how, see the synergies between both federal and state level. So I guess this is something that is very important and very significant to Sarawak. Yeah.
Sarawak is the largest state region. But by virtue of that, it also has one of the toughest challenges for inclusion, be it digital or non-digital.
Yep.
Infrastructure is very key before we even say 4IR and digital economy. So I'm going to put it to you that if we make it in Sarawak, we make it anywhere else in Malaysia, because the challenges are one of the toughest here.
Yeah.
So how do you see that from that angle? Because the 0.3%, 0.7% might need an even greater innovation in technology to solve.
Yeah, I guess there are other alternatives to just building towers, right? Building towers is expensive. This is talking about digital connectivity. You have satellites, but then again, Sarawak, if you look at the skies, quite cloudy. Yeah. Therefore, we have to find other alternatives, and how do we ensure that there's connectivity throughout the state. There are technologies that look at the line of sight, using laser to translate. But then again, the terrain may be a hindrance. So I guess we have to work around it. I don't know. I'm not an expert in creating all this, but I'm sure when there's a problem, there will be a solution. And having said that, I look forward, as the head of the Center for 4IR, a collaboration with WEF, I do look forward to working with the private sector, bodies like even TM Research, because they actually had a solution to that, and also the state government, and how we can bring them together and find some solutions that can be applicable to the states. Okay, so that's one way. I mean, I only mentioned TM Research because I saw it. I paid a visit to TM Research about 2 weeks ago, and they have that solution for short range, transmission. It could be a challenge, but at least it's something that we can deal with. But the second thing for me that is more important is the people, because you have the technology, you don't have the people to manage it. That's also not so good. Therefore, upskilling generally for the general public is very important, so that people can pivot to the digital so-called era. Simple skills need to be introduced, not necessarily coding and all that, right? So even getting people to understand technology. I think all these bits and pieces, we need to find a way to get it transmitted to the public. For example, there's one project we are working on, but I can't reveal our partner yet. We are actually putting together a program for self-learning for public of all ages. Now the content is in English, Mandarin, and Tamil and Malay. It's 4 hours worth of content. People can log in and learn about AI. Okay, because we want to demystify AI. We call it generic name now is call it AI for AI. Let's
Working title.
Working title, yeah. But that's something that we're going to launch sometime this year together with our partner, so that we do have a target of how many million people we want to cover in a short in a span of a number of years. That is one way we are trying to demystify technology, and in this instance AI. Recently the center also launched a report on generative AI, on the impact of generative AI to the Malaysian economy. The reason why we did this was we hear after the explosion of ChatGPT, everybody's talking about AI. Suddenly it becomes sexy. And AI has been there quite some time, and then Mosty has come out with the AI roadmap and so forth. And with generative AI, you see a lot of reports that are very global, in a sense, like McKinsey talks about the global economic impact, but so far none has done anything about Malaysia. That's why we did a short study together with Microsoft and also Access Partnership. That report can be downloaded from our website. But essentially it says, if you sort of augment, not replace, augment the various, I would say, profession with AI, the economic impact potential that you unlock when you translate it to dollars and cents is about a quarter of our GDP in 2022. So there's potential. And when people talk about fear of losing jobs due to AI, I think this is quite a common phenomenon when we actually enter into a different phase of industrial revolution. For example, when people start rolling out T-Fords, cars, they replace, of course, stagecoach. You replace the driver, but then at the same time, that person can be a car driver, a taxi cab driver. You create jobs for mechanics. You create jobs for people who distribute and sell cars. So new jobs will come out because of new technologies. There was a report by WEF called the Future of Work in 2020. It estimates by 2030, 85 million jobs will be replaced, no doubt. But 97 new jobs will be created. So there's actually a surplus of 12 million jobs.
Okay. For those who are not fortunate enough to join the sessions at WCIT, I'm going to steal your wisdom a bit. One, the keynote speaker, Mike Walsh, he put out I'm glad you give the T-Ford model, because when it was rolled out, it was not just a vehicular transition.
Right.
Ford also introduces the modern supply line in the factory, right? To make it faster. So Mike Walsh alluded to the same thing when he said it's not about product, it's about experience.
Yeah.
It's not about the supply chain, but it's about the platform.
The platform. Yeah.
So platform economy is key to both digital economy and 4IR. So right now, if you look at the world, the Fortune 500, for example, the big 5 companies, the big tech company are the ones. They are the big tech, they are also the digital media platform. So that's why it's called the platform economy play. How do we sync with that? Because we don't have an alpha batch. We don't have a meta. So how do you think? Because we are doing all these things, but sometimes we also have to sync it at that level with what's going on at the top of the world. So how do you see it?
I can only talk about it from my point of view because, from my work that's related to this. The reason why we set up the Center for 4IR is actually a step towards that, because the center is not, as I mentioned it yesterday, if you expect to see a nice building, a group of scientists working there, you'll be disappointed. It's not that. It's a platform for us to actually connect to the rest of the 18 centers around the world and look at the best practice. And also, at the same time, you don't forget, we have local talents to be introduced to the rest of the world. If they have worked with us and is recognized, and our work gets published in the Center for 4R's platform, it gives the opportunity for us to introduce our local talents as well. For example, I quote a real example. The WAF is actually convening a meeting on quantum economy.
Okay.
We don't even talk about this yet, right?
Correct.
But they reached out to me and said, Fabian, can you help us identify, number one, a Malaysian, a female, someone who is trained with knowledge on quantum mechanics, not in business. We want to invite this person to our meeting. So I have to go through find somebody, and I found somebody from one of the universities.
Nice.
And gave her name, because they need a female. Gave her name to the WA. But I told the person, the professor, I'm not the one making the decisions, but at least they asked me to
make the introduction.
Yeah, it's up to them. But my point is, being part of the so-called network, it allows us the opportunity for us to introduce our people.
Okay. Cool. Last one. You've seen the wonders of bringing big brand and networking like WCIT, and when we merge it with IDEX, it's also started here on High Technology. And we can see, I've just spoken to Grace, that was introduced to me by the serial entrepreneur, technopreneur, Bill Inman, for example, and stuff like that. Imagine that happening in Kuching just a few years ago.
Yeah, okay.
Right? It would be unthinkable. So, for the next year, the trick is always sustainability. And,
well, we have IDEX. We still can do that in IDEX. It's just that this requires a lot of planning, because you need to bring big names in, right? To make it.
I mean, you have a line into Davos, World Economic Forum, and they do before COVID have World Comic Forum Asia.
Yeah. That's one way. That's one way to do it, because that's why we wanted to be the first center in Southeast Asia. If you look at the National 4R Brooklyn, the ambition was to do that, to establish a center for 4R for Malaysia. But their target year was 2025. We do it, we bring them in and get them to launch it in 2023, because we thought it's important to put our flag there, right? And the rest we have to figure it out. I always believe in putting our flag first, and we'll figure out the rest. And also, it's also a signaling effect, because if people look at this and say, hey, WEF has the confidence to do this in Malaysia, there must be something that they're doing right.
From what you have said, I can deduce, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you're very, very optimistic of us moving forward. Because a lot of people look at now, post-COVID, but when you look at Sarawak alone, there's already a PCDS post-COVID.
Yeah.
And there's now an economic blueprint, digital economy for 2030.
Right.
So it's not looking back actually.
Yeah.
So are you the same for the country as?
Yeah, because I always believe you need a catalyst. But for me, the catalyst is the center of you need a catalyst to make things happen. You need something that will unlock a lot of opportunities. For me, I see it as that. So hence I would like to invite, whether it's private sector, state government, to actually use the platform that we have. Yeah.
So maybe we start with a visit, because mine is a public-private group that looks at high technology. So no-brainer. Maybe we should visit each other. And
yeah. We can collaborate.
Thank you so much.